Good evening. Welcome to Last Bell Boxing. We have a special tonight, joined by the #1 ranked super flyweight in Britain, the Lionheart, Lauren Parker. How are you, mate?
That's correct. Yeah, nice introduction. I like that one.
I'll try my best, mate. I'll try my best.
It's true. So no, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm actually having a bit of a down week this week in terms of I'm not training and stuff. I'm actually having some time out, which is good because I was in a training camp for a fight which was meant to be happening this weekend, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And I basically got told halfway through that camp that the fight's not going to be happening. However, we decided to still run that camp out because, listen, I'm an athlete that, I'm always in the gym and I'm always training and I'm always trying to, progress and better myself. So I think, well, just because you're told that you're not fighting doesn't mean that I take my foot off the gas. So we treated it as a fight camp, and I've come to the end of that fight camp now. So I'm literally having this week off to refuel and, re-energize, that sort of thing. Ready for the next one because it's been announced, the new date, which is
December the 2nd.
2nd of December. We'll discuss it.
We will discuss it.
Other than that, a nice chilled week. I'm feeling good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All's good.
Well, I can testify to the fact that you're currently super fit. I came down the other weekend down to the gym and witnessed a bit of sparring, and you are absolutely in tip-top shape. So we'll talk about how you tailor that down and then back up again, because there's a couple of months back till fight night. So yeah, we'll come on to that in a second.
Yeah.
What I want to do, Lauren, is for people that view our show, I want to give them an idea of who you are and what you're about if they don't know you. Mm-hmm. So let's go right the way back. First and foremost, how did the moniker Lionheart come about?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Spoke about this a couple of times, but it does have meaning. It's not something I just picked out of the hat and goes, oh, that sounds good. There's actually meaning. And basically, when I first started boxing and saw like the combat side of things, I actually started doing kickboxing. Okay. And during that time, I actually suffered really quite badly with sports-related asthma. Even through school, I used to suffer with it really badly. And one of my friends at the time was doing like some extra training and stuff with me because I really wanted to progress in kickboxing. It's where my heart was, it's where I was like, training. And I just felt like this is the direction I want to go in. Anyway, he decided to do a little bit of extra training with me. He was doing some sparring with me, and we ended up getting in the ring and doing a few rounds. And honest to God, like I struggled to get through like a minute of the round. It was that bad, and I was hyperventilating, but I would not stop. And after the rounds, he was like, honest to God, Lauren, you've seriously got a heart of a lion. Because I was literally, there's tears coming down my eyes. I couldn't breathe, but I was just, no, I'm not giving up. I've just got to see this through. And I think it's a strong mindset that I must, I've got this strong mindset. Yeah. And yeah, he was just blown away by the grit, really, and me being able to just, put that to one side and, not tuning into your body necessarily, and just you've got a goal to do and that's it. So yeah, it kind of come from there. And he always used to go, yeah, you got a heart of a lion, and it stuck. So it suits well.
I'm assuming the asthma thing you've just grown out of.
Yeah, I've used boxing as a way to kind of conquer it. I remember I didn't really take kickboxing. Well, I did take it seriously, but I didn't take it very far. So I only did probably 2-3 little gym shows.
Right.
I remember they were only 3 1-minute rounds. That's all they were, right? And I just remember getting in there and like, oh my God, I literally can't breathe. But I think as I then progressed on through to boxing and my training got more and more serious and there was a structure to training, I then started realizing that my fitness was progressing.
Yep.
And that with fitness, you make your lungs stronger. And I don't know why, it started to get better. I always struggle. And even to this day, sometimes I can struggle, but you've got to seriously push me to new limits to get that from me. But I'm very much able to cope with it and realize that this isn't going to last long and you're going to be back to normal. So yeah, it's just about like breathing techniques, breathing through it and just knowing that you're going to be okay. And yeah, boxing has got my lungs strong and mentally strong to be able to deal with it. So yeah, that's how I've kind of cured it, really. I'm proud of it because it was bad. really, it was quite bad at one point. I couldn't do much. Like, I remember being at school. One in particular, I did 200-meter race, and me being me, I'm going to go for it. Straight down and literally across the finishing line. I'm like, can't breathe. Like the tears were coming out of my eyes. It was awful. So to go from that to how I'm doing it now, and you see me the other week, 10 solid, good rounds of sparring. I'm proud of where I've come even from that aspect, being able to actually get these rounds done. It's quite incredible, really.
Yeah, I can testify. And that gym, that gym up at 666 is blistering hot.
Oh, it's blistering.
Crazy. So for you to do 10 rounds like that, hats off, mate.
Thank you.
So, what's your first ever memory of boxing?
First ever memory of boxing.
Was it watching a show? Was it a certain fighter?
Yeah. So growing up is actually, again, quite a funny way of how I've got into it, because I remember growing up and my mum and stuff would put like the tapes into the system, and they'd have recorded the likes of like Mike Tyson and those sort of fighters. And I just remember it. I must have like been so small. I don't even know, maybe 5, 6. And just thinking, oh no, can we turn this off? Like, I don't want to watch this, And it wasn't really something that gripped me even from that young age. It just didn't. But it wasn't until my dad introduced me, really, because he took me to kickboxing shows as a youngster. Okay. And I just remember just being there as probably at age 13, I would say. That's what I think it was. It was Stevenage Leisure Centre, actually. I remember it like it was yesterday. It's crazy. And turning up and watching the fighters. We actually went to go and watch a guy called Suki, and he did amazing. Like, I think world champion and stuff. I think not too sure, but he went on to do very, very well. And on that night, I just remember seeing some of the girls that were fighting that night, and just looking and thinking, wow, like I want to give that a go. It was very much so inspired by it. And I've always been a sporty kid, but where I'd had like a bit of anxiety and, not wanting to do things on my own, or, not really, I don't know, feeling comfortable in certain situations, it would mean that I would never really join any sports clubs or do anything like that. So when I see him boxing, I was like, oh wow, like this looks really good. Like, I actually genuinely think I could do that. So it kind of gripped me instantly. And I then just started off with a bit of kickboxing, like I said earlier, and it kind of went from there, really. But yeah, I've never looked back since. It's a crazy sport. It just grips you, and once you're into it and you really put everything into it, it's hard to let go of it, and you always want to better yourself, and you're always going to continue to learn. So it's a great sport,
What age were you then when you flipped from kickboxing to boxing and started taking things a bit more serious?
Yeah, so I started kickboxing at around about 18. So again, where the whole anxiety thing comes in, I was inspired by around about 13, but I didn't actually take it up till I was about 18.
Right.
And that's because I went to another show, another promotion, but it ended up being the same promotion as I went to as a 13-year-old girl.
No way.
It was crazy. Yeah. So I ended up asking the question, like, where do you do your classes? And obviously I got the information. I turned up, I went along. I must have been about 18 then. And then I must have been about 2021, maybe, that I then transitioned over to the boxing side of things. As I said, like a friend who was helping me out, he said, well, why don't you come and try boxing? And I said, oh, I'm so like into kickboxing, and I didn't really know the opportunities that boxing would bring. And I was very much, I don't know, maybe I'll give it a go. We'll see. And then in the end, I did. I gave it a go. And do you know what? I just loved it instantly. I think I turned up at the club the first day. I remember there was a guy called Jeff Glencross. Unfortunately, he's not here with us no more. But I remember him looking in and going, yeah, put her in for sparring. She can spar. And it was literally my first day. It was crazy. So, so probably about 21, I'd say, that I switched over to boxing.
Like being chucked in with both feet, is there?
It's the way it's got to be done. And I think I take that approach going forward. It's the best way. It's the quickest way you're going to learn. And, they always say you've got to get out your comfort zone to progress the most. You're never going to get anywhere staying comfortable, are you?
So, no, that's right. That's right. You've got to push yourself. Lauren, tell me about your amateur career.
Amateur career. Good amateur career. Not as big as some may think. I only had about 20 fights in total. So yeah, I think I was an amateur for about 6 years, maybe something like that. 6 into 7 years. So yeah, it's not a lot of experience, to be fair, 20 fights, but it was good. It was probably a 60-40 record, wins. 60% were wins. Some of them are you could argue them, but do you know what? It was good. I learned a lot, and yeah, it's pushed me on to who I am now. I got involved in, I won Haringey Box Cup. That was probably like a little highlight career highlight, should I say, and won gold there. So that was great. And then I entered like national championships. Unfortunately, I never won them, which was a shame, but come very, very close. Again, you could argue one of the results. I boxed an England girl once and it didn't go my way, but it's just one of those things. So yeah, it was decent. I travelled around. I boxed for the home counties. I went over to Jersey and boxed over there and got a win. So that was really good experience. And yeah, many talent camps that I went on under England boxing, and met some good boxers along the way who have now turned pro, and you see them on the big stage now. So it's really nice to see how we've all kind of stuck at it and developed into what we are now, even on the pro scene. It's it's good. A good career. It was a good one.
Lauren, I'd argue that your style suits the pro game better than the amateur game anyway. You're a very aggressive fighter.
Yeah.
You wear down fighters, you take fighters to the limit, and you have some serious power. So,
Thank you.
I mean, the knockout against Ivanka, if anyone's not seen that, go back and look at that fight. Wow.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Outstanding.
I love it.
And she's a real tough character as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone else has done that to her. So moving on then, you're currently sat at 7-1-1.
Yeah.
And on December the 2nd, you'll be fighting for the European Super Flyweight vacant title against, bear with me on this.
Go on, you might do it better than
me. Giuseppina Stefano.
That's correct.
Is that about right?
I think that's right.
And I think everyone has already gathered that she's Italian.
Yeah.
So it's funny enough, she's got exactly the same record. Firstly, what do you know about her?
Yeah. What do I know about her? Not really a lot, to be honest. I have seen one video of her, and that is against a girl called Stephanie Silva, and she is ranked #1 in the world at super flyweight at the moment, I believe, if you look at BoxRec, and #1 in Italy. So that is the only loss that my opponent has had. So going by that and what this Stephanie Silva's gone on to achieve and where she's sitting right now, makes you think, well, if you're losing to someone like that, then it's not really a bad loss, is it? Like, you've put up a good fight against a good girl there. So, that's I'm taking from it and knowing that she's gonna be pretty game. I mean, I've watched the fight back, and I think, to be honest, I think she's good. Like, I do think she's good, and I think it's going to be a very explosive, fast-paced kind of fight. But then again, I also think to myself, like, she's not been in there with me, and I'm not trying to big myself up, but I do think I'm a big puncher. And when you know that you carry power, you are able to deter people. And I think that she might come to realize that on fight night. So I don't know who she's been in there with as well. Like, these other girls, I don't know if the caliber of opponent is amazing, but I do know that Stephanie Silva is good. So it's hard to judge. It's hard to say, but we're not going to know until we get in there. But I train hard and whatnot, and I think it'll be a good fight. And we'll see. We'll see come the night.
And that goes back to the point you just made earlier on about pushing yourself to the limit. Because if you don't push yourself, you never know.
Absolutely, and especially in this sport as well, you can't hold back or not take those opportunities. Everything's done in a split second, you know, and you have to make decisions very, very quickly. And yeah, you literally have to give it everything. This is one of the toughest sports, you know, out there, I believe. And yeah, you got to be fit and you got to give it everything you got, because if you don't as well, it's dangerous. You know, as they say, you don't play boxing. You know.
No, that's right. That's exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah.
So, as you said at the start of the show, you were in camp for this fight. It was meant to happen this weekend.
Yeah, this Saturday coming, like 2 days out.
And you get halfway through camp. You know, you're super fit anyway, but even so, no fighter walks around at fight weight. So you're having to get yourself down to fight weight. And then you get the call that the fight's off.
Yeah.
What does that do? What does that do mentally? Because I'm assuming you've got to stay really sharp. You've got to stay focused. You've got to stay upbeat and positive.
Yeah.
How do you then? I mean, obviously you're ticking over, but as I was saying earlier on, you've now got a situation where you're the best part of 3 months away, 2.5 months away from fight night again. You're not going to have a 2.5 month camp. So what do you do to tailor that back down and then back up again to be peak for fight night?
It's a tough one. Like the way that this has worked, we've seen it all the way through 8 weeks. Would have been fighting today, so I've literally had this week off. Then next week, I'm probably gonna just build slowly back up. So I might do some runs and stuff, a little bit of shadow boxing, some technical work, that sort of stuff. And then when I get back to it the week after, we've then obviously got 8 weeks. Yeah, I think 8 or 9 weeks, something like that. And we are pretty much going to go straight into another one. Right. It's a difficult one because I think I've not had that flow of fights, you know, like every, say, 3 months you've got a fight. Unfortunately, I've had other setbacks and things. It's actually going to be a year and a couple of months out. So when you know that you're not fighting, you can have those times where you have, you know, that what do you call it, like that ticking over thing. You might have a phase of, right, you're going to be working on like pure strength work and, you know, real lots of groundwork, that sort of thing. And then when the fight comes up, you sharpen up. Like I've never had like 2 fights kind of back to back, if you like. So I think the only way to deal with it is when they are close like that, and the fact that I have done that camp and now we're going to start another one, is to literally just take some time out. Like what I've done is take the week off, recoup, and then we go back again. And I think I'm quite fortunate that 1, I love training, 2, I love the sport, and you know, it's not a chore for me. So even if I wasn't fighting, I'd still be training anyway. So it kind of doesn't bother me, you know, that's happened. It happens in boxing. It's not the first and it definitely won't be the last.
Yeah.
I think the one big thing, which again we can talk about, is actually the fact that this title fight is pretty much funded by myself. In terms of, I've never had to deal with it before. Like normally fighters will get an opportunity and they'll sell tickets and that's it. That's what they have to worry about, or they'll get paid a purse and that's it. Whereas this time we're hosting it in the UK at York Hall, and I've literally had to come up with everything. So I had to find all the sponsorship money for the purse bid to put in. So we put in a steep purse bid, and then all the
make sure you got it over here, not in Italy, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we didn't want it in Italy. I want it here for my profile and stuff. You know, it's going to be a big night of boxing, and you know, I'd love to have it here. So, you know,
I hate to say this, but also to get a fair shake.
Exactly, and that's another thing. Like I'm at the point in my career now where these wins are important. I need to get these belts. I need to move on. I'm not super young anymore, and you know, I've got to grab the opportunities when I can, and to go out there. And you know, I've heard that, whether it's true or not, but you've literally got to knock them out in their own backyard. It's like, well, okay, I believe in my ability, but if they're going to cheat their way out of it or whatever, I'm not prepared to do that. My career is important, you know. Plus, I don't know, it's just good to have it in the UK too. So,
of course,
you know, I mean, I could have gone to Italy. I wouldn't have had to worry about any of the costings. Not a problem. But this time we made a decision to host it here because my career is important to me. But cutting a long story short, it is costing me so much money. Like, I can't even describe how much money this is costing just to do this. And to be honest, I think that most fighters probably would have gone, nah, I'm not doing it, or I can't raise the funds. So I think when I found out that the fight was off, the first initial worry was, oh my God, like, all the people that have helped me out and that I've got the money and everything, and all the people that said they're coming, now I'm panicking. Like, oh my God, are they still going to come and support me? If they don't, like, how is it going to work? Stress levels are just super high, you know? So it's not just about, this time it's not just about the fight and training for it. It's all the logistics behind it. I'm basically promoting, obviously Steve, my manager, is doing a great job. He's there, he's guiding me correctly, but it's literally had to come from me and gaining all the sponsors. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm not used to doing this. This is normally a promoter's job who's got the funding, who's got big sponsors, TV, all of that. I don't have that. And it's been stressful, I'm not going to lie. But do you know what? As I say, things happen for reasons. And as it is, there's more people now that want to come to this fight on the 2nd. And hopefully it will work out for me, you know. So, yeah, everything's positive. But, yeah, going back to your question about how do you deal with that, with the camps back to back, I think it just comes to, you know, taking a week off, having some downtime, getting away from the sport, and then recharging and coming back, because that's all I can do, really, you know. So, yeah.
You look like, coming away from that just a second, you look like you're sat in an absolutely beautiful studio. Now, we talked off here. You're a PT trainer by trade.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is how you're funding, or getting some of your funding for your fight.
Mm-hmm.
You do everything as a one-on-one personal thing, in your own little studio.
Yeah.
So firstly, give yourself a little plug. Tell us about your business, where people can find you if they want to find you.
Yeah. So obviously boxing is a massive passion of mine, but unfortunately it doesn't bring the money in like we want until you're getting these big fights and stuff like that. So yeah, PT is my business. I've had my business probably 12 plus years now, I would say. To be honest, I mainly do just fitness coaching and a bit of weight loss stuff, a bit of strength and conditioning. I really like mainly staying down the boxing route. So I get some youngsters come in the gym. I train them on a one-to-one. Sometimes they don't even want to be boxers, but they love the training. And it's very, very rewarding how, you know, the boxing can really build somebody up, build their confidence. And, you know, you can take someone from being very, very shy to someone who's very confident, or at least when they come in here, they're confident and they feel good and they leave buzzing. You know, that's the aim, really. And that gives me a lot of pleasure to be able to do that. So, yeah, so I do youngsters all through, really, young youngsters and into, you know, adults, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. Even older clients as well. Sometimes they'll come in. I also teach box fit classes, if you like. Obviously, a bit more of a different spin compared to your box fits, like boxercise classes, if you like aerobic-y stuff. I don't really do that. Right. I think with my knowledge, it's, you know, we do a lot of pad work, and when I teach at the boxing club, we'll get them on the bags and stuff, and we'll actually go through technique rather than, oh, we're just doing loads of punches, who can burn the most amount, who can sweat the most. That comes with it, but for me, it's about putting my knowledge across and just getting the average Joe, if you like, doing some boxing and actually looking good. And I think that makes me feel good as well. So, yeah, so I teach that. I do some boot camps sometimes. But, it's just I work the two together, with the boxing and the PT. And I think PT is great because I'm self-employed. I'm in charge. I can kind of say what works, what don't. If I've got sparring, well, then I'll just tell my client, I'm really sorry, I can't do it today. And do you know what? They all support me and they all know what I do, and the level that we do it at. And yeah, they're so understanding. It's great. I feel very, very lucky to have everyone that I train. And it's a good business to work alongside pro boxing, you know. So yeah,
Lauren, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Before I let you go, I just want to talk about if you win this European title, you're going to have a massive target on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Your division is quite stacked in the
UK.
Good, isn't it? There's some fantastic talent coming up in a couple of weeks. As a Commonwealth title fight between Nicola Oatwell and Emma Dolan.
Yes.
let's get a cheeky prediction from you for that fight.
It's a tough one. Do you know what? Because I've not actually really seen too much of Emma, so I can't even really give too much of an opinion. But obviously, I've sparred Nicola.
Yeah,
I think Nicola's good, and I definitely don't think anyone should underestimate her. I think she's game as they come. She's probably one of the nicest people I know. I'm not gonna lie, like really, really lovely girl. But when she gets in there, she turns it up and she brings her A game. So, do you know what? I think even more from a strength aspect, I'm gonna go for Nicola on this one. Yeah, I think Nicola will take this. Maybe I could be being a little bit biased. I don't know. I do actually like Nicola, to be fair.
I think we can forgive you for that.
Yeah, of course. But I don't know. I just think may the best woman win. I don't know.
It's a great fight, isn't it?
I do think both of them are going to be. They've got to be super fit. I believe that Emma will come out very, very quick, very explosive to start with. But I think if Nicola can use her footwork and maneuver around her, I think could potentially make her look silly. But we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I was hoping to potentially get up there and actually watch it myself. But if not, then I'll be tuning in on telly and having a watch. But yeah, it'll be interesting because obviously it's my division as well. So it's potential rivalry down the line or whatever. So,
yeah, I mean, they're two of the top talent. I mean, you've got other great names in the division and also the division below.
yes.
And people can easily move up. The likes of Chloe Watson, Maisie Rose Courtney, who's coming through, on the big shows. You're sat at number 1 in the division. Shannon Ryan sat at number 2 in the division.
Yeah.
He's obviously getting a massive push on a big show.
Of course, yeah.
Is she someone that you're keeping an eye on?
I think she's definitely somebody that you'd want to keep an eye on. She's moving quickly. She's been guided the correct way. As an athlete, she's a great athlete. I'm not gonna sit here and say she's not, because she is, and she's we've had some great spars, me and Shannon together, and she's strong, she's game, she's technically good. You look at her, it's pleasing on the eye. But I think she's someone you're going to have to look out for, because before long she'll be knocking on the door and stuff, especially if I win a European title, or if I then move on to say a world title after this, and then she's moved on to something, then she gets an opportunity to box for a world title, then we could meet later down the line, and box and unify. So she's definitely the one to keep an eye on, and I think more so because of the way that she's promoted as well, being a matchroom fighter. She's in the public eye. She's got a big following on social media, and she's going to be pushed the right way, to benefit her. So as we all do, to be fair, but she's definitely one that I keep my eye on, and we are probably likely to meet in the future. But there'll be a lot of respect there. We go out there, we do what we've got to do, and may the best woman win, and that's it.
I think that's a fantastic way to bring the show to a close. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah. We'll be watching you going forward for absolute certain. Lauren, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
No problem.